Now run me back.
Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast life. Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast life. It's the life I chose, living on the road. Let's go take a trip, got a couple shows. We don't even vote, but you know we taking pose. I don't ever stay in place, girl, I gotta go. Get my bag though, I don't even gotta pack though. They don't even know me, come and leave through the back though. Ass whoa, they been living hella fast though. When they hit the brakes, that's when I go and hit the gas though. Don't get too attached, cause you know that I can't stay. Yeah, I hit the road, I don't even need a place. Life is like a phase, got a lot up on my plate. Finish that tomorrow, cause I gotta live today. Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast life. Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast life.
Fast life, new chains. Shout out to Kicks and Dale. Y'all better wish me well. Too sick on a different trail. You know how I get down when it comes to the pad. When it come to the raps, gotta pick up the racks. I'm running them laps, good ass weed. Waiting on me at the spot. Promoters, they loving a nigga, they send a deposit, I'm sending the drops. I'm running around with the baddest, she get the fetty and I get the why. Business on the scene, might like the doors, I'm fucking the shop. The money is out of my range, need to hit the foreign exchange. Turn this cash to USD, right before I hit my plane. That's when I order my drinks, then I convert and wrote my verse to this. Right after my champagne, I'm counting my money like damn I work for this. Woo, now I'm landing, left you where you standing. Guess who still can't trust these hoes, I live them abandoned. I got shit to do, you can't fuck up my planning. If I wanna see tomorrow, then I gotta let it bang.
Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast life.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the roll, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go. Here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles Fake Out Premiere live stream. We do these every once in a while, guys. Unfortunately, I am unable to go live tonight, actually live at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So your boy Frankie Candles is here to give you guys a pre-recorded live stream premiere so you guys can keep up to date with the markets. I don't want to leave you guys completely in the dark. I mean, what kind of Frankie Candle would I be if I left you guys in the dark? So I just want to give you guys kind of this little market update, fake out live stream premiere. I see everybody going crazy in chat. I'm kidding. I can't see that. You guys know that. But anyway, guys, I want to give you this quick little market update because Bitcoin is absolutely battling with 30K right now. And if we lose this level, it could be a critical level to lose, because if we wind up losing it, when we look at the charts, there are some specific reasons why this is an important level and why we want to hold it as support. And if we lose it, we could potentially be seeing a little bit more downside for Bitcoin. So are we breaking down, or are we going to catch support where we're at right now and then bounce back into the range that we've been in for the past 2 or 3 weeks and continue to range trade around here while we wait for this range to decisively break out to the downside or the upside? And if you guys have been watching the channel, you will know that kind of my basic sentiment based off of money flow on the medium time frames is that we will likely see a move down before our next move up, or our next big move up. But other than that, I am bullish in the long term. So I want to break down the Bitcoin chart, show you guys some of those targets to the downside we can keep an eye on if this is indeed going to turn into a bigger breakdown. We got to be ready for those key levels so we can catch those long trades right off those levels and make money. But like I said, money flow is starting to point, or has been pointing to the downside for quite some time. But are we about to see that play out? And then also, guys, I want to go over XRP. I know a lot of people are wondering, is it too late to buy XRP? Did you miss the boat? And I want to talk about that a little bit because I think there's a little bit of a flaw in that method of thinking. But if we are going to see a continued pullback for XRP as well, if that is the case, where can we be looking to potentially buy the dip? And not only buy the dip on XRP, but also buy the dip on Caspa. Shout out to anybody who saw our Sunday Sauce video talking about how many CAS you need to accumulate to become a millionaire in the next bull market. If you have not watched that, go check it out. It was uploaded on Sunday. So go check that out. But with all that being said, guys, shout out to the chat. I can't see you right now, but I know you're in there. I know Crypto Billy's here. I know Rob the Crypto Snob's here. Tyler Durden, D Petty Crypto, Captain Kirk, Crypto Anon, Chemistry Bro. Did I say Tyler Durden? All of our mods, guys, show our mods love in chat. And hey, you never know. Maybe your boy Frankie Candles will pop up in chat as well. Oh, look, Frankie Candles. He's right there. Let's go. But guys, without further ado, we do have some interesting stuff to look at here on the charts. So let's go ahead and jump on in to the charts. Here we are. So here we are, guys, on the Bitcoin 4-hour chart. Now, first off, I do want to turn off that TA and just go over kind of what we got going on the indicators, give you guys that general analysis, and then we will work our way down to those lower time frames, turn on that TA, and start taking a look at the key levels we have to be keeping our eye on if this dump is going to continue. Let's get into it. I didn't have my camera on. There you go. Here, look, guys, I'm still here. But let's take a look here, guys. Now, again, I do want to preface this whole update real quick, guys, with the fact that not much has really changed. We are still just in our sideways range. Now, again, we are starting to flirt around with losing that 30K level. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. But for the most part, guys, we have just simply been in this sideways range for, what are we up to now? About in this sideways range for about almost a month, guys. Almost a month. Very, very reminiscent of this consolidation period we had over here, where we were also going sideways for the better half of a month, almost a month before we got that breakout. So again, you know, just nothing really that crazy going on right at this moment. But let's go up to the higher time frames and just kind of talk about what we got going on up here. Now, my sentiment does generally remain exactly the same as the past 3 weeks, guys. Money flow is crossed over into the green on the weekly. This is a bullish sign in the long term. This is a mega bullish sign in the long term. I do think we will eventually break these highs and come up to some higher targets, you know, up here around the 33 to 34K level before potentially making a break for higher. But overall, definitely bullish on these longer term timeframes. But as you can see, this VWAP is working its way to the downside, looking for that red dot. We also have, let me pull up this fresh chart really, really quickly, pull up that weekly time frame, and just show you guys that we do have this weekly bearish divergence starting to print. I see a lot of people asking talking about this in the comments and in the live stream chats. A lot of people have been kind of curious about this for quite some time. Not the strongest bearish divergence when you draw it to the bodies. You can see here we do have higher highs on our price action. A little bit more of an aggressive angle when you bring it up to the wicks. You can see you have a much higher high on your wicks, but you do have that lower high on your momentum waves. This bearish divergence on the weekly is definitely starting to show up, but we're not printing that red dot. I do think we will likely see this red dot print, either over the week, during this week or at the end of this week on Sunday. We will likely, unless we get some kind of big bounce to the upside, we will likely see this red dot print. Not making any decisions based off this until we get the red dot, but you might be saying to yourself, well, are you bullish or bearish on the weekly? Because you just said you were bullish in the long term, but now this bear div stuff is starting to look pretty bearish. Like make up your mind, pal. So I'll break it down like this, guys. Long term, I am both bullish and bearish on the weekly. I am bullish on the weekly in the long term because of the money flow crossover into the green. The money flow indicates the longer term trend, right? And then the VWAPs, aka the red dots, indicate the noise in the market, right? The ebbs and the flows of the market. I'm not going to go deep into it, like how that works on this stream, but I will just kind of break it down like this. Money flow crossing into the green would make me expect higher highs to eventually come in here, breaking these yearly highs and creating new yearly highs, right? Again, between about 32, between about 32 and 34K is kind of those next levels. We have specific levels up there, and maybe we'll take a look at those a little bit later. But just the most important thing is money flow crossing into the green, definitely a mega bullish signal in the long term. I do think we can break these highs eventually because of that. But with the VWAP coming down and this potential bear div printing, I would expect some kind of a move to the downside before we get that next big move up. And again, this has been my sentiment for the past 3 weeks. I'm starting to feel a little bit crazy. Everybody thought this bull pennant, bull flag, which I know is hard to see on the weekly, but everybody kind of thought this sideways range was going to break to the upside. A lot of excitement on this big green candle here, but we just got sucked right back into the range. So just kind of important to realize here is that this weekly bear div / when this red dot prints on the weekly, I do think it will likely give us a move, potentially breaking us below this sideways range finally, but I am bullish in the long term. So in the short term, once that red dot prints, I do think we may continue down just a little bit. But in the long term, I think that will eventually just be in the long term to come down and put in a higher low before putting in another higher high. So hopefully that kind of sums up my sentiment. Yes, I'm bullish and bearish on the weekly at the same time, but bullish in the long term, a little bit bearish more in the short term based off that VWAP. Moving down here, obviously, as we skirt our way down to these lower daily time frames, you can see that we are starting to get a potential red dot printing here on the 6-day very soon as well. Also, our 5-day is looking for that red dot. Similarly, our 4-day is finally printing that red dot. So you do have the bearish divergence printing on the 4-day. Did I say the 4 dot? The 4-day. So we are looking for this, this 4-day red dot is printing along with the bearish divergence. Again, could assist us in a little bit more of a move down before putting in that higher low and continuing back up. Again, hate to beat a dead horse here, just same exact sentiment that we've had for the past 3 weeks. However, sometimes you just got to sit through all this noise, guys. But with that being said, red dot is finally printing on the 4-day. Our 3-day red dot is also printing. Even if we didn't have the bearish divergences, guys, this is generally just a sign. Just these red dots are a sign of potential cool-off coming, right? And on top of our red dots on not only the 3 and 4-day, we have the confirmed bearish divergence here on the 2-day as well. And remember, guys, if you watch this live stream, you will know that we have been watching this divergence, right? We didn't know that this 2-day bearish divergence was coming when we were looking at this 16-hour, but we knew that these divergences were likely going to print because we started seeing these divergences print on lower time frames, such as the 12-hour, with our lower highs on the momentum waves and higher highs on our price action, which was basically enabled us to see these other bearish divergences on the higher daily time frames before they actually printed, right? Because if I go into bar replay mode here and we see that we are about to potentially print this bearish divergence on the 12-hour, I'll just go ahead and have it print here. There you go, right? So we wound up getting this a bearish divergence to print. Granted, we're not too far off this price here, but we were able to see this pop up on things like the 12-hour, things like the 16-hour before they started leaking into these higher time frames. I talk a lot on this channel about the lower time frames leaking into the higher time frames, and this is a perfect example, right? We saw these divergences, like even on the 8-hour, we started to get this divergence here before we wound up getting it on the higher daily time frames, and then obviously as price moved forward, we are starting to come down a little bit more, but we are starting to now get these divergences on the higher daily time frames. So again, not only are we getting these red dots on the higher daily time frames, but we are also having our money flow coming out on a lot of the medium and now even the higher higher hourly time frames, such as the 12-hour. Money flow is starting to come out. Your 10-hour looking pretty bearish on the money flow as we consistently cruise to the downside here, crossing over into the red recently. This is not confirmed, but we are now have that 10-hour crossing into the red, which is definitely more of a bearish sign. 8-hour also crossing over into the red, 6-hour crossing over into the red, 5 hours in the red, and your 4-hour is finally crossed over into the red. So again, this money flow on the medium time frames, guys, between the 4 and the 12-hour, I would say, even the 16-hour, along with the red dots on the higher time frames, would indicate a cool-off incoming, right? Before our next big move up. Now, it's not saying that we can't come back up to the high of our range here with all these red dots. We totally can. I'm talking about a cool-off before our next big leg up, potentially targeting that 33 to 34K level. This was not another leg up, right? This was just a little deviation from the range before getting sucked right back in. So we could easily come up to the high of the range, especially in the short term now, kind of shifting our focus to the short term here, guys. The 5-hour VWAP is starting to come up. Your 4-hour VWAP is starting to come up. Your 2-hour VWAP is starting to come up, and you're starting to print some green dots on things like the 1-hour confirmed green dot. So you're starting to get these green dots on these other lower hourly time frames, which would indicate a potential bounce incoming. But that's in the short term, right? So based off of the money flow on the higher hourly time frames, as well as the dailies, right? Like even your 2-day money flow, like guys, 2-day money flow definitely coming out here. So because of this, because of the money flow on the 2-day, even the daily is starting to come out a little bit. 16 hours starting to come out amongst everything I just showed you guys. Because of this money flow, I would expect these bounces to be potentially lackluster to the upside, to put in a lower high and then continue back to the downside. So if we do wind up getting a bounce here, I would look for this to come up for a potential lackluster bounce before rolling back over and putting in a lower low. And that is based off of money flow. The one caveat there is the daily VWAP. Now, we're not going to print this green dot today, likely, but maybe in the next day, maybe in the next 2 days, we will get this green dot on the daily, which is kind of the only thing I can see giving us a big move back up to the high of the range. However, looking at this 4-hour green dot, once we print this 4-hour green dot, this is likely when we are going to get, whatever this move winds up being, whether it brings us up about here or it brings us up to the high of the range. That 4-hour green dot is going to be the thing I'm looking at to potentially get that bigger move to the upside. Now, if we go in and put in a lower high, where would I be expecting a potential rejection? Well, if we pull our fib from the high all the way to the low, you can see here, let me pull this range as well. This is the same range we've been looking at forever. You could see maybe we come up to the high of the range, deviate, hit our local golden pocket. I will actually go ahead and pull this up a little bit. If we do wind up coming up, guys, I will be looking at this golden pocket coming in between $31,074 and about $31,000 even. If we get back up into this value area, flip this POC, I will look for a move to the value area high, a potential deviation into this golden pocket, and potentially even that 786 before reversing back to the downside to put in that lower high, right? You have your high and then a low and then a lower high. This could be where your downtrend continues. And again, I would expect the downtrend to continue because of the way money flow looks, right? The 4-hour, as far as the short-term VWAP coming up, this would indicate a bounce incoming, right? So I would be sitting on my hands for the shorts. I am not shorting at support here. This is not what you want to do. You want to look for longs at support. Just so you guys know, like right now, I am, interested in longs at the low of the range, looking to target potentially coming back up to the highs or even this POC. But if we get that move up, I will simply be looking in the medium term to short those lower highs to put in those lower lows. And this golden pocket 786 retracement level is going to be a level that I am looking for that lower high to come in. And then if we pull this fib down to this local start of this kind of impulse to the downside here, you can see we do have perfect confluence with our golden pocket and our value area high right about here. I will turn this purple for shorts. And you can see right there, right? So I will be looking for this purple box. If we get that move to the upside, right? Like I said, flip that value area low, flip that POC. We know we're likely to go for the high. I will be looking for shorts at the golden pocket and the 786 retracement levels. This retracement level as well, which again is pulled. Let me go ahead and delete this. This fib, right, that you're looking at right now with the confluence between the golden pocket and the value area high is pulled from this high to this low, all the way to the low, from this high to this low. Gives you that perfect confluence. And then that other retracement level I was looking at was simply just pulled from the actual high of that entire move down, right? So from this high all the way through this move to the downside. And then that level I will just mark out for you is, again, between about $31,070 and about $31,000 even. And then don't forget, you do have the 786 up here, which I will go ahead and mark out like this. And there you go. Those are kind of the levels that I would be looking at if we do continue up, because money flow is coming out on those higher time frames. Again, short term, I would not be surprised if we get a bounce, right? The VWAPs are coming up. We're getting some green dots to print. If that does happen, I will look for the bounce to bring us up to the high of the range, looking for a potential lower high here to come lower. Also looking for a lower high here to come lower. So these are areas I would be interested in looking for shorts with confirmations, not just blindly shorting the levels. But also, another thing I kind of want to show you guys here is if I pull up the Bitstamp chart with our more macro levels here, you can see, if we zoom in here to something like the 4-hour, what is happening here, right? Like, just zooming, these are the same levels I've been looking at on the live stream for like 3 weeks now. And just looking at these levels, like, what is going on, right? Like that range we were just looking at was simply this local range here, right? As we're trying to regain the value area low, looking for shorts at the highs. But when we get rid of this local range and we zoom out and just look at the macro, guys, some important things to realize here is we are starting to lose this previous point of control. Now, I would draw this as somewhat of a range. We have another previous point of control pulled from May of 2022, which is exactly where this point of control is pulled from. But when you pull this range from slightly different candles, let me just zoom back here. When you pull this, you can see our value area high right here is not lining up with the actual value area high right here. When you pull this range from different candles, you get slightly different levels, but I am taking both ranges into account. So I will be watching this as somewhat of a range, right? So 29,000, where's 29? So yeah, I would be really looking, if we decisively lose this, I'm going to change this to white. If we really start decisively losing, actually, let me see if I can pull this up here as well. Let me go ahead and hide some of this stuff. Whoops, bear with me, guys. Let's see. Let me go ahead and hide this. Let me hide this. And then let me just go ahead and hide all of this. Oh, come on. Scam. Okay, there we go. So just hiding this, I do want to take a look at just the, right here. Right, so this is kind of one of those levels. You can see we are starting to lose that point of control. If we lose this decisively, we are simply going to be expecting price, treating this as a general value area, a simple value area, as we always look at the charts in terms of, right? We always look at the charts in terms of volume profiles. Value area high up here, POC right here, value area low down here. What happened? We came up, we tested the value area high, we got rejected, we came right down to Creighton C, the POC, exactly. We went from the high. We know when we get rejected from the high, we're likely to get a move down to the POC. That is exactly what is happening. If we cannot hold this level as support and we get below it and we cannot get back above, we will be expecting to potentially get a move all the way back down to the macro value area low, coming in at about 28.8K. Now, there are somewhat a few different levels here, right? Because like I said, there are two different ranges I'm looking at. And granted, if you're looking at this, you're going to get a majority of the view that we're looking for here. These are really the important levels. But if you want to get into the nitty gritty, if I go ahead and, no, not this. Where is it? If you go ahead and pull the March 2022, let me just bear with me, guys. Let me pull up a different chart here. Let me go ahead and hide it So right here, this is really what I want to look at. Let me hide the daily levels. We're going to pull up the macro levels right about here. So here, and so you can see here, right? We have this range here with the value area low coming in at about 28.8K. This is very similar to the level we were looking at before. But if I turn on the secondary macro levels, you can see the range gets a little bit wider. That's the wrong one. Sorry. A little bit wider. You see how we get a little bit higher and a little bit lower? So this is kind of, and you can see you have two POCs in here, one POC here, one POC here, but generally it's the same area. And also, if you pull your local range here, guys, you could see at the bottom of this white box, this little mini white box we have here, our local value area low is coming in right down here. So this is a key level that we're holding right now because it is two macro POCs, as well as our local value area low. And we know once you lose this macro POC, you're likely to come down to the value area low, which again, there's a couple different levels here. You have one level down here at 28.6, another level up here at 28.8. So, again, there's multiple levels, but in general, this is the range that we're looking at. And if you want to simplify things, you could just look at the local range. Just look at this I could hide all this stuff and simply just look at this local range. And this is why the volume profiles are so important, guys, because if you're looking at this local range, sure, you don't want to lose the value area low. That's kind of bearish, right? But once you lose that value area low, you are now aware that when you zoom out, you know that this is also both macro POCs. So when you lose this value area low, you're not just losing a regular value area low, you're also losing the macro POC, which again is important because we know that that could indicate a bigger move back down to the bottom of the range, because when you lose the POC, where is price likely to go? Creighton? Right, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Not the POC, but the value area low. When you lose the POC, you look to go to the low. When you lose the value area high, you look to go to the POC. So now we know this is somewhat of a key level. This value area low is not just a regular value area low. So when we lose it, we know we can expect more downside. So these are the key levels we need to be keeping our eye on, guys, if we are going to get a bigger breakdown, and if that money flow coming to the downside, not only on the 4-hour, but also on the 12-hour, the 10-hour, et cetera, if that is going to wind up being correct, which I hope it is, because it's been teasing us for quite some time. And but yeah, if this is going to wind up playing out, this is going to be kind of what we can expect if we lose these levels. So not only are we expecting a potential move down because of money flow in the medium term, but also we know once we lose this level, we are definitely expecting to come lower, potentially to about 28.8K, between 28.8 and 28.6. Now, there is one more level before we move on to XRP and Caspa. I do also just want to point out that we do have this level here between about 29.5 and about 29.4. I would also be watching these levels as well because we do have these wicks down here. They're also important levels for other reasons. However, this could be an area where we wind up catching a little bit of a bounce as well. I believe there is some daily. Yeah, there's a daily level down here as well. So this is going to be a big level to watch as well. And again, that is starting at about 29.5 and ending at about 29.4. So that is going to be the key levels that we need to be watching on Bitcoin, guys. And not just the key levels, but the reason behind why they are key. Right? Like we now know that value area low is a key level, because if we lose it, we're expecting to get a bigger move down. Now, it's not going to guarantee that we get a move down to the value area low. Like I just said, obviously we do have those intermediate levels between 29.4 and 29.5 as well. But those are really the major key levels. Once you're out of this local range, you could simply delete that range and then just look at your now macro range. And then obviously you'd expect that value area low. So that's the key levels on Bitcoin, guys, and just basically how I am feeling. Obviously, money flow coming out is making me feel that we are likely to get a move down before another move up. But in the short term, we can definitely bounce with the VWAPs coming up. So again, general sentiment, I do kind of think we might get a little bit of a bounce here, potentially back up, and then to put in a lower high, even if we deviate from the range again, right? Like you could still put in that lower high from over here and then continue that move to the downside. So there's Bitcoin, guys. Real quick, let's go over XRP and Caspa, because the thumbnail said, is it too late to buy XRP? Is it too late? Well, it was really, is it too late to buy XRP? But really, it should be, is it too late to buy XRP and Caspa? But let's go ahead and take a look. So for XRP, guys, obviously XRP has gone on an absolute tear, right? And ignore, I don't know if you guys can hear those Discord notifications coming off of the computer. I am at the office right now, so I can't really turn those off. But they're on Tony D's computer. But anyway, and again, just looking at these levels here, These are, obviously the levels we've been looking at for a while. This is kind of the general range we've been looking at. Again, these are the exact same levels I just showed you guys on a different chart. But again, just drawn a little bit differently with the colors and stuff. So those are the key levels to look at. But now let's go ahead and take a look at XRP, guys, because, again, a lot of people are saying, is it too late to buy XRP? Should I wait for a bigger correction? Are we going to launch up from here? And I want to break that down because we are in a very interesting area. Now, I'm not going to talk about how we knew we were going to come up here because of the volume profiles. I've already beat that. I've already beat that to the ground. But I do want to take a look at kind of the levels that we're looking at here because these are very important levels. Now, obviously, if you guys watch the channel, you will know we were waiting for this push above between 60 and 63 cents to get accepted back into this value area, right? Between this low and this high. We are looking for these. We're looking to get above that value area low and get accepted back into this macro range from 2021 that we were trading in. Now, what happened? We got that quick move up. We got above that level. And where did we go? Creighton C. That's right. Straight from the value area low, straight to the POC as expected. And where did we wind up getting that? Where did we wind up getting that resistance? Right at that point of control. And we wound up coming back down and now we are cooling off. So here, in my opinion, is kind of what I would expect out of XRP. Now, obviously, we are looking to print a red dot here on the daily. Not only that, guys, but we are going to be printing a pretty nasty bearish divergence here with much higher highs on the price action with lower highs on our momentum waves. Now, obviously, be careful because this can get driven by news. So just be careful. However, regardless, if we get a red dot here, whether the bear div gives us a big move down or not, this red dot is likely to give us some kind of a move down. If it does, where I would be looking for potential dip buys on XRP would be this blue box for many, many reasons. Not many, but number one, it is the value area low of our range, right? Our macro range. It is the value area low of our macro range here. So a lot of times what will happen is when you get accepted into a range, you will get a big push up like you did with XRP. We got that news event, that big push up, and then we cooled off. If we get that red dot and it does bring us down below this little kind of sideways range or, that we're consolidation that we have up here, I would expect to potentially come back down and test that value area low as support before going up to attack that POC again and then potentially try to flip it and come higher. So the first level that I would really look at is the top of this blue box, and the reason the top of the blue box is here is because we do have a local golden pocket up at about 0.6459 cents. And then the bottom of the golden pocket is in almost perfect confluence with the macro value area low down here, coming in at about 0.6287 cents. So if we do get a move down here, simply I would be looking for longs or potential dip buys at the low of that range, because again, we know if we hold that range low as support, we are likely to go where? Creighton? Dave Digital? Come on, Dave. Dave, pick up. Creighton's not answering. Thank you, Dave. Dave always got Creighton C's back. I love it. But if we hold that value area low, thank you, Dave Digital, we will get a move. Not will, but we could potentially get a move. We will expect to get a move potentially up to the POC. And that is why essentially the kind of theory or hypothesis or thought process going behind why I'm looking at this level. So not only do you have the macro value area low, which if I didn't know this golden pocket was here, I would simply be looking at that value area low, come down, potentially test that level as support, and then again you could potentially be putting in a higher low on that local golden pocket retracement level before continuing up. So many reasons why we may want to hold that level and put in that higher low. If you start slipping this range, this is where it gets a little bit dicey for XRP because you will be losing your macro value area low, which is not a good sign if you want to stay inside the range and come higher. But if we wind up slipping the range and coming a little bit lower, I will look for a move off of this 786 level, obviously from the fib pull that we got that local golden pocket at, and that is coming in at about 56 cents, about 0.5659 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and label this 786. So these are the major levels I would be looking to buy the dip on XRP potentially here if we are going to get a continued move down, and we do have the money flow coming out on the daily with the red dot looking to print and that potential bearish divergence starting to pop up. So these are the levels I will be looking for to buy the dip on XRP. And then also, I don't know know if I'm going to be able to get the exact range we were looking at. But if we go ahead and pull this range right here, you could see that this previous value area high is not too far off that 786. So this would be a potential level I would be looking at as well for a bounce at about 53 cents. And I just want to see this for myself. If I pull it to current price action, yeah, it doesn't really move very much. So, potentially looking at this level as well for a potential dip buy on XRP. So, going to go ahead and turn that blue for, buy the dip. The blue means buy the dip, guys. But anyway. Not financial advice. This thing could go to zero. It could launch to $1 million from here. Who knows? But again, based off the analysis, guys, it does look like we could potentially get a bigger cool off. And this is where I would be looking to maybe fatten my bag of XRP even fatter than it already is, because it is pretty dang fat. Anyway, guys, that's what I'm looking at on XRP. And real quick, let me go ahead and take a look at Caspa really quickly for you guys. And I don't want to look at that chart. Let's go ahead and look at the MEXC chart. And is it too late to buy Caspa? Now, you have to understand Caspa went on an absolute tear, since back here in September. But another thing you want to realize here is I got some comments on the Caspa video on Sunday that we did, how many Caspa to accumulate to become a millionaire. Check that out if you haven't already. But one thing that I've seen some comments saying, this thing has already ripped 18 bazillion %. How are you recommending that this is a good buy? Here's the thing. These videos are not necessarily, these videos are speculative, not even price predictions. This is just me analyzing the information on, trying to figure out how much you would have to buy at the current prices to become a millionaire in the next bull market, right? And then with that comes the moon math of trying to predict how high it could go, which, by the way, when it comes time, which we are starting to enter the season of price predictions, especially on altcoins with creators and stuff, there's nothing wrong with doing price predictions. We do them kind of, we're going to roll out more advanced price predictions based off of technical analysis coming up very soon. However, any price prediction, guys, is extremely speculative. So please understand that. I don't think all creators are that open about telling you that, like, guys, this is like a guess. And you could base it off a TA, but even then, it's very speculative, so be careful. But here's why. Caspa pumping $1 bazillion %, like whatever it actually was, even if you pull like all the way from the bottom of the wick all the way to the top, 7,000%, like even more, 8,500%. The reason why, it's not like you're buying the top of the bull market here. You have to understand, at least to my knowledge, Caspa was not around to make a new bull market top in 2021, right? So it's not like this thing is at its previous all-time high from the last bull market. In that case, it would probably not be a good idea to buy into this right now because it's likely going to cool off a big time. But you have to understand there is no 2021 all-time high for Caspa. So this is just what it has done in a bear market. So if you think this is a big pump and you're not willing to buy this because it's a big pump, imagine what it could do in the bull market. Now, with that being said, I don't know if I would be willing to buy these giant green candles. Obviously, you want to try to buy in strategically, other than your regular DCAs every week, every day, or whatever. If you're going to just drop a bag into Caspa, you might not want to buy the top of a pump. So this is what I want to clear up right now. Caspa, on the daily, guys, is potentially also looking to put in a daily bearish divergence, and I'll explain why this might be a good thing to start watching. Now, it's not the strongest bear div, but it is there. Money flow is coming up, so that's one thing you have kind of going against you here. I wouldn't be looking to short this thing to the ground. I actually wouldn't even really be looking to short this, but what I would look for is I would look to sit on my hands and let it cool off a little bit, because regardless of this bearish divergence playing out dramatically or not, you're likely going to get a red dot here very soon, and it's likely going to cool the price off just a little bit. So the first place that I would look potentially to buy the dip on Caspa, I would look again, like, where are we right now? You're at the value area high. You also have a golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement level right in here as well. We are starting to reject a little bit here at the value area high. I would be cautious of a potential push up to that 786. However, eventually you are likely to cool off here and maybe get a move back down to your POC at about 0.026037 cents. And I'll just go ahead and put a horizontal line there. So that would be place number one to look for a potential bounce. Now, If you wind up getting a rejection from the value area high and you come to the POC, we know that's very likely. If we get below the POC, I would potentially look to maybe even come back down to the bottom of this range, in which case I would be much more comfortable looking for longs or even buying the dip on Caspa to potentially, add a little bit to my bag in anticipation of reattacking that POC and then trying to get above that 786 and then going for all-time highs. So that's kind of what I'll be looking at as far as Caspa, but it does look like we may start to cool off here with that bearish divergence, looking to print here on the daily pretty soon. 16-hour bear div as well as a red dot looking to print here very soon. 12-hour looking for the red dot. 10 hours printing. Yeah, so 10-hour bear div is also printing. You do have the red dot here. Taking a look at the lower time frames, your money flow on the 1 hour is slightly coming out. 45 minutes slightly coming out. So again, I would be careful with the altcoins. They can be a little snappy at times. You could get into a short position and then it could just rip up to a retracement level really quick before absolutely nuking. But yeah, your 24 minutes starting to come out. Your 30 minute is also starting to bleed out here. Taking a look at the 6 and 8 hour. 8-hour red dot printing. 6-hour red dot confirmed. So I do think I would watch the daily bear div to look for a bigger cool off on Caspa. But if we do wind up getting a bigger pullback here, these are the key levels that I would be looking at. Number one, the POC of this macro range. Then the value area low, which not only is a value area low, but is essentially in perfect confluence, guys. This would be a big level to watch, because when you pull your golden pocket all the way from the low to the high of all this price action, your golden pocket comes right in here in perfect confluence with your value area low. So this is really, I would feel comfortable. Again, maybe not buying the tippy top of these blue candles, but I would feel pretty confident. Like if we come back down to this level, I would look potentially to add a little bit to my Caspa bag. And then if we wind up losing this value area, I would look to come down to the 786 coming in at about 0.010187 cents. And that would be the kind of the next area I would be looking to buy the dip if we lose that value area to potentially get a bounce and then get accepted back in and attack that value area high again. So that's my plan on Caspa, guys. And with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream, guys. Like I said, I apologize for not being able to, I apologize for not being able to go live today. But sometimes, I was telling the premium Discord this, sometimes life gets in the way. Thank God Bitcoin's not doing anything too exciting, so not really missing out on too much. But I didn't want to leave you guys completely in the dark. So here's a quick little market update. I think we went for a little longer than I anticipated. But there you go. That's all I got, guys. Tomorrow we're back to the regular schedule, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sure people were super chatting. I'm sure people were gifted memberships. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out, guys. If we get 550 likes on the live stream tonight, I will go ahead and add those spins. I'll add 10 spins to the wheel on tomorrow's live stream. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today's market update live stream premiere fake out. Shout out to the Frankie Candles, the CandleMafia Godfather-inspired T-shirt. Check out Frankie Candles. Tony D will put the link in there to the merch store if you guys are interested in checking out the merch. But that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, different place. I'll be at the other studio. But yeah, same place, same time. 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after ATB, which just ended. This video went up late, so thanks for sticking around, guys. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong. Oh, God. I got to click the button with the mouse, guys. This is... I
don't run me back. Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it, then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast. Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it, then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast life. It's the life I chose, living on the road. Let's go take a trip, got a couple shows. We don't even vote, but you know we taking polls. I don't ever stay in place, girl, I gotta go. Get my bag though, I don't even got a pack though. They don't even know me, come and leave through the back though. Ass whoa, they been living hella fast though. When they hit the brakes, that's when I go and hit the gas though. Don't get too attached, cause you know that I can't stay. Yeah, I hit the road, I don't even need a place. Life is like a phase, got a lot up on my plate. Finish that tomorrow, cause I gotta live the day. Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it, then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast. Get my cash right, cause I
life, new chains. Shout out to Kicks and Dale. Y'all better wish me well. Too sick on a different trail. You know how I get down when it comes to the pack. When it comes to the raps, gotta pick up the racks. I'm running them laps, good ass weed. Waiting on me at the spot. Promoters, they loving a nigga, they send a deposit, I'm sending the drops. I'm running around with the baddest, she get the fatty and I get the why. Business on the scene, might like the doors and fucking the shop. The money is out of my range, need to hit the foreign exchange. Turn this cash to USD, right before I hit my plane. That's when I order my drinks, then I convert and wrote my verse to this. Right after my champagne, I'm counting my money like damn, I work for this. Woo, now I'm landing, left you where you standing. Guess who still can't trust these hoes, I leave them abandoned. I got shit to do, you can't fuck up my planning. If I wanna see tomorrow, then I gotta let it bang.
Get my cash right, cause I spent it all last night. Said I'm good to go, only if the bag right. Hit it, then you know I gotta do the dash right. Told her how I'm living, welcome to the fast life.